Welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. We talk each week about the digital world. It's loud, crowded, it's liars, it's half-truthers, it's all kind of stuff out there. So you need professionals like Drago and his team at Oak City Tech to help you get your message out there correctly to your current and future clients. Go to oakcitytech.com. Tell them what you're looking for. I know they'll be able to help you. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning. Each week here on Triangle BNI, we talk to a local small business success story. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, and the surrounding towns, feature 31 groups every week getting together to help each other grow our business. And our guest today is Kirstyn Yancey with TMS Digital. She is a member of RD38, the Cleveland Connection. They meet Tuesday mornings at noon. Kirstyn is the visitor host, which means she's very nice to people and welcoming and remembers names from everybody from all of 2022. Kirstyn, good to see you. How are you?
I'm good. I hope you are.
I am. So visitor host, fun job because you get to meet everybody every
Yeah.
week at the meetings. You're one of the few that gets to shake everybody's hands.
Yep. Shake hands, remember names, gotta say the name about 7 times with
Yes.
me to remember it.
Yeah, or find something that, oh yeah, I've got a brother or a sister
Mhm.
that's their name. And if I remember it, yeah. So it's
Yeah,
hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's the dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
Cheyenne, this, that,
Yeah. So
yeah.
anyways, it is a fun job because like I said, you get to meet
Mhm.
everybody, but TMS Digital,
Mhm.
a family owned business out of Clayton, and you are a brand ambassador there.
Mhm.
So does
Uh,
that mean going on
yeah.
TV, going to car shows, go to festivals on weekends, all that stuff?
Actually, I mean, sure. Yeah, I am all over our social media. I am a Clayton Chamber of Commerce ambassador. So you'll find me at the networking events for the Clayton Chamber of Commerce. I am technically a digital marketing specialist. So I'm meeting and onboarding clients for TMS Digital. But as far as brand ambassador, yes, I am the face of TMS. So if you were to go on our Facebook and
Yeah.
Instagram page, you'll see me a lot. It just
Yep.
happened
Good.
that way. And so,
It works for everybody, right? Because nobody else
yeah.
wants to do that, which means, hey, tag, you're it. So,
Mhm.
for those of us with businesses, we're going to talk about web design in a second, but social media, where do we make mistakes?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Well, and that's why I didn't ask
Um,
how many, because that's like 7,212. I thought if we started with where do we get ourselves in
so,
trouble?
so there's a fine line between, because I tell folks, I say, people can spot a stock photo a mile away.
Yeah.
You want to be personal because the clients will connect with that or potential clients. You don't want to get too personal though. Nobody wants to know even if they align with your political and religious views,
Mhm.
that's don't cross that line on your business pages. So that's where we found those mistakes are the biggest mistakes for social media for businesses.
And a couple things that jump out at me, especially on LinkedIn, where I spend most of
Mhm.
my time there, is the horrible cell phone picture. It's a selfie. You can tell they're doing this, right? Or it's a picture of their dog. You know, they
Mhm.
run a window cleaning business and there's a picture of their dog. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
And I don't get the just take a professional photo and
Mhm.
put it up there but I see it's simple things like that. When somebody goes to check you out, I think a lot of people want to know that, hey, they're buttoned up, they mean business.
Yeah, yeah. I tell people that is something I say. If I'm confused, then your everyday consumer is confused.
Yeah.
because I do this all day long, 40 hours a week, sometimes 50 hours a week. If I'm confused by looking at you, then I know Susie Q is.
Now, which makes you cringe more, a bad picture or no picture?
No picture.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Because I don't know what I'm going to expect.
Yeah, yeah. Do you exist? A, do you exist? And B,
Yeah.
and I love the well, and I'm a little old to do this, but I think you're a little, I'm sure folks in your age range have thrown that late college picture up there or first job out of college, which may be 8 to 10 to 12 years later, and
Yeah.
try to pull that off. And then you meet them, you're like, huh.
And, once I started noticing I don't look like that
Yeah.
anymore, it's
Yeah.
time to rotate those photos out.
Yeah, and during COVID, I grew a beard, and I had to get a new picture taken because
Yeah.
that's the right thing to do, is this is what you're gonna
Yeah.
see, like it or
Yeah.
not. This is
You'll be
what you're
like,
gonna
you're
get.
not Mike.
Yeah, I know, so, I love family-owned stories and businesses, and your dad started the company in 1998 in Rocky Mount. It's now based out of Clayton. It was originally Tar Heel Media, Digital
Tar
Tar
Heel Media Solutions.
Solutions, sorry.
So
Oh, okay.
we went through a couple different phases. So when we first started out in '98, we were strictly the phone book. So it
Love
was Tar
that.
Heel Pages.
Yep.
And when we started evolving and incorporating the
Yeah.
digital aspect, which was in 2009, then we were Tar Heel Media Solutions because we were still doing the telephone directory, some print advertising. We did sort of like a clipper, but hyper local in Johnston County. And then also the digital aspect. So we were your media solutions. And then when we became just digital, we kept the Tar Heel Media Solutions, the TMS, and we're strictly digital. So TMS digital.
Would love a show of hands of the folks watching and listening. Who knows what a phone book is? When was the last time you used it? And yes, there were companies back in the day, I'm sure most of us remember, that nothing but the phone book, and that's what we did.
Mhm.
Oh, I need an auto mechanic. Let's go to the yellow pages
Yeah.
and just start. And that's why it was great at that point in time for your
Yeah.
company to be named, first letter was A, like
Yes.
A auto, not just auto, but A autos.
It was A1 or
Yeah,
triple
yeah.
A1. And I had to tell a couple people, they said, especially if they're younger than me, because, and granted, I've only used a phone book a couple of times, less than a handful of times. And, some of the younger folks, they're like, why would they be named, triple A1, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. I go, that means this company has been around for at least 30 years. They're like,
Yes.
huh? I go, alphabetical order in the phone book.
Oh,
You wanted to be
yeah.
first.
Yep. Oh, it's so good back then, but you just scrolled through and,
Yeah.
either the
Mhm.
first one that popped up or whatever the first one nearest you
Yeah.
popped up, and we just called them and went.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
those days, oh boy. When was the last time you guys ever printed one of those?
So we actually had our very last directory was the 2017 to 2018 edition in
Wow.
Rockingham County. Yeah,
Okay.
not that recent.
Wow.
um, they they loved the phone book up there. They really did. They were upset that we were discontinuing it in
Yeah.
2017.
Oh, yeah.
And we were like, I'm sorry, y'all. Like this, it's the internet,
Yes.
like it was pulling teeth to get them to quit.
Yeah, and it's funny what you and your dad have seen from the first time because you started there in '04. It was a summer
Mhm,
job,
mhm.
and just what you've seen now, now we're worried about, okay, will my website transfer onto a cell phone? So it
Yeah,
comes up properly, is it, set up and everything like that, and again, I
yeah,
mean, who knew we would be here back in 2004?
yeah,
I'm sure somebody did. Well, Steve Jobs did, we know that.
yeah.
But just the stuff you've seen in our thought process on just how to use and find information.
Mhm. It's nuts. I mean, like I still remember the first time I had a computer, the first cell phone I got. I was much older than my nieces are 10 and 8 now, and they got their first cell phones last Christmas. I was 14 when I got my first cell phone,
Yeah.
and it was the Nokia that had Snake on it.
Oh, yeah.
There was no internet on a cell phone back then. I just got it so I could play Snake because everybody else was talking about it. But yeah, I mean, just to think about in that short span of time as well, to go from a Nokia to I forget the one that like flipped around with the keyboard, you could actually access the internet on that. I mean, the screen was teeny tiny and you couldn't really read anything, but you could access the internet. And then immediately it was the iPhones, and the iPhones blew
Oh, yeah.
up. And and over 80% of contact to the internet is via a mobile device. So it's nuts.
And I'm still an Android user. I've tried the iPhone a couple times. Family members have them, and as I gotten older, I just explained to people, my eyes just don't see it. That's the best way I can explain. There's just no connection. But with a Samsung, it's nice and easy, and I don't need it for a lot. But back in the day, my brothers he had a BlackBerry.
BlackBerry.
He loved those things.
We have found that if you were a BlackBerry user, that Android is how you pivoted to that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he loved it.
And I tell people all the time, I'm like, I don't have anything against Androids. iPhone was the very first smartphone I ever used. And it's about like, I don't want to learn how to use another phone if I'm comfortable with the phone that I've had for, 10 years now. So
yeah, you didn't have to relearn anything. So why start with that? So
I look at my dad's phone, I'm like, hey, this is like a different language to me.
You mean you look at his flip phone?
No, he's got an Android.
My dad, considerably older than your dad, years ago, we'd always give him grief because he wouldn't text. He's got grandkids, he's got kids, everybody's texting, right? And it's like, Dad, just flip open your phone. We'll show you how you can text. Of course, his flip phone, you had to punch the same number 3 times to get the third letter on that, which, right? Oh, yeah, it would take you forever.
I loved that.
Oh, no, he hated that, which is one of the reasons why he didn't text. But we'd ask him something about his phone. He goes, can you do that on your phone? He goes, no, but I have an app for it, which that's his way of telling us, just shut up. I'm done talking.
Yeah.
But, yep, and I've not gotten to the point yet where I have one of those oversized phones with font size this big for the letters so I can see them. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of I kind of see why people get it, but I'm not quite there yet. So, working for a parent, more pressure or less pressure?
More, 100%. People would, my first year in sales here, when I said that I was the boss's daughter, they're like, oh, well, then you should definitely like be able to come. And I was like, no, I am under more scrutiny than anybody else here. Like if I, leave out one thing from my notes, it's Kirstyn, like, what? So, yes, I'm definitely held to a higher standard. So I am, and I love it. I mean, the more, I don't want to be in a too relaxed of an environment because that's when you start to lose your work ethic, So,
and when you first came to work there, did you and your dad decide on what you were going to call him?
So it's a very laid back environment. So there's only a couple of people who call him Mr. Hayes. For the most part, he's on a first name basis with everybody. He came from corporate, which, he hated it. And that's why he started his own business. And he doesn't want anybody here to feel like they're in a corporate situation. So, he makes everybody feel at home here and that they're another member of the family.
So what do you call him at work?
I call him Jeff.
Okay. All right. And I've seen both with people working for their parents. Everybody's whatever they agree upon, that's fine.
Yeah.
So
I'll say my dad or Jeff, so
The furthest client from Clayton, North Carolina of yours is where?
Oregon.
Nice.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
I was on vacation. It never turns off.
How'd you run across him then?
We were at a diner. There was a cork board with a bunch of business cards. And I called him. Well, I called all of the business cards that I picked up, but he was like, actually, yeah, I've been thinking about putting together a website. Oh, got some time to meet tomorrow. And
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was 2018 or 2019.
good for you.
So
Did your dad
yeah.
let you write the whole trip off then?
Yeah, well, it was on his ticket to
Okay.
begin with, so he was excited about it because then it turned into a business
Okay, good.
expense.
Well, that's a cool story. I like those.
Yeah.
Two things we must have on our website.
Contact information, and call to action
It's
buttons.
it's
It needs
hang
to.
on a sec. It's sad that you have to lead with contact information. Is that not the reason why we have a website? And I'm amazed at the people that make it so hard for me to get in touch with them.
There was one I came into contact with. I think it was last week. It might have been the week before, but I had to go digging for his information. Um, it wasn't even on the contact page because it was nowhere on the homepage. And I was like, all right, contact page. He had no contact form either. And I want to say it was at the bottom of the about page. So it was on a random, it was in a random area. Like it just did not make sense. So yeah.
I'm just amazed. And the other thing that gets me is one of the big things we learn in BNI is relationship marketing. We get to know, like, and trust people so we can refer them. And more times than not, I believe when I go to somebody's website, their about section, if they have it, is I think it's done wrong because it doesn't personalize anything. You don't have to have the life history of the owner, but give me a picture or give me how the company started. You guys do it
Yeah.
right, obviously, but there's so many people that fail to connect with people that come to their
Mhm.
website.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. Why?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, why have the about page if
Yeah.
it's not truly about?
Do they feel like that maybe that's not corporate enough and they're trying
Mm,
to be corporate instead of a business in Clayton or Apex or, Fuquay? I mean,
yeah.
I just oh, so
Yeah.
anyways, tell them to put
Yeah.
that up there. For what it's worth, tell them Mike said, put the stuff up there. Because people want to know.
Yeah.
People want to know. Um, the transition. Okay, so from print and digital, we talked about some funny stuff as you guys grew. COVID years, and I don't think it's over, so I'm not going to get on any soapbox or anything like that one way or the other. But from the day everybody was sent home,
Mhm.
most companies like, hey, everybody's working from home now. How did that change for you guys with the way companies wanted to or did promote what services they had?
So of course it was scary for
Oh,
everybody in
yeah.
that first month. Nobody knew what was going to happen. Like, is my business going to
Mhm.
fail miserably? Oh, and we actually saw a lot of growth in 2020. We have a lot of contractors who did supremely well for 2020, 2021, and are still doing very well. And we saw an increase in their social media spend because they were getting an increase of calls and wanted to make sure that they were um, ahead of their competitors wherever they could be. And I mean, it was, I think, a rough time for everybody, obviously. But the day that it opened back up, we were back in the
Yeah.
office. I am not a work from home person. I could not stand it to save my life. Felt like the walls were closing in and all that. But I mean, we worked it out. We just, my dad had a plan in place and it worked out for everybody. I mean, we didn't lose any employee during it.
Good.
There's one of our employees is still, she comes in a couple days a month, but she really liked the work from
Mhm.
home aspect. And, if she's happier there, then again, my dad's like, hey, I want to keep everybody happy
Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
that's,
I
he's
was
trying to create a
amazed.
space for
Yep.
everybody.
And I was amazed at some of the restaurants who didn't do a lot of takeout business all of a
Yeah.
sudden realized nobody's coming in, so we better step it up. And there's some
Mhm.
wonderful stories in the restaurant business about how they stayed open just by doing that. And now it's a big part of their business.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Um, Me and my husband were very adamant about there's our favorite restaurant that's around the corner from us at least twice a week, even if it was like us just sharing a burger,
Yeah.
because of course it gets expensive if you chew too much. But we made a point to go in and, like wait outside, but we order something. Like we made a
Yeah.
point to support as much as we could during that shutdown. And during when restaurants didn't open back up full capacity for quite some time. I think it was until August
Yeah.
almost that they didn't open back full capacity. But we made a point. I think it was Cinco de Mayo. We got food to go from La Casina, which is here in Clayton, and we waited an hour and a half for food, but I was a happy camper because I was like, I'm getting tacos from La
Yeah.
Casina. Like I didn't care how long I had to wait.
Tacos work everywhere, don't they?
Yeah.
Tacos and bacon, I've found pretty much work everywhere.
Yes. Yeah.
I think you and I met. We've not known each other long. We've known each other a couple of weeks, but we had a lot of
Mhm.
fun at what was the Double Barrel Bar in Smithfield?
Double barley
Double Barley Bar. Yeah,
brewery.
we
Yes.
met when
Mhm.
the Smithfield core group was having a mixer.
Mhm.
Chance to get to meet some new people. So that's the first time you and I chatted. We had a blast. I think I asked you who spelled your first name, but tell that story again. Why is it spelled that way? Those are the quirky things that intrigue me, Kristen.
Yes. So my mom has one of her best friends is Kirstyn, and she wanted to name me Kristen. And my dad said, there's enough Kristens in the world. Let's name her Kirstyn. And on top of that, they just decided to spell it in the most bizarre way possible. So that way I would be correcting people the rest of my life. And then on top of that, my maiden name is Nixa. So I was also
Yeah.
correcting people on that because they were always trying to French it up.
And of course, your parents' names are Jeff and Susan or something like that. Simple to spell, right? I don't know your mom. What's your mom's
Yes,
name?
they're very run of the mill names. Yeah.
What is your mom's name?
Lisa.
Yeah, there you go. And they give you,
Yeah.
but I'm sure you
Yeah.
got back with them one day as you were growing up. I'm sure that,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what is Yancey Nothing Yet?
That is, so that came about. My husband and I started an LLC a couple years ago. Um, and we had always said that we wanted to do something with that verbiage because it being his last name, we were in our apartment together in Austin, and he said something, and I just came at him, and I was like, Yancey, nothing yet.
Yeah.
And he dropped John. He goes, what? I go, have you never thought of that before? Like, it's your last name. He goes, never. I go, oh my God, like,
But that's what
that's
you, yeah.
dumb.
But
Yeah.
that's what you do for a living is
Yeah.
that.
So I picked up that URL
I saw that. Yeah.
before I got into sales because I was like, I'm going to make sure people know that that's ours. It was the hashtags for our wedding. So anybody who, took any photos that day, they're all collected on social media under that. And yeah, like it's our trademark
Mhm.
basically. So anything that we do has Yancey Nothing Yet attached to it.
Is that the barbecue sauce business as well?
Yes, so that's the name of the LLC. The name of the sauce is Yancey's Fancy Pants.
Nice. And now, did you come
Mhm.
up with that too?
I did.
Nice. He
Yeah.
really owes you, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
Was that a dream of yours to have a business and it turned out to be that business, or did you guys just stumble on it?
I just kinda stumbled on it
Yeah.
as more of a hobby and decided to bottle it one day,
Mm.
so it was like, "Okay, we're getting good feedback from it, let's just go ahead and slap a label on it and
Is that
see
is that
where it
his
takes us."
full-time job?
So no, he
Okay.
actually works at, Coca-Cola.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, mhm.
So this is your weekend hobby?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. With plans for bigger distribution one day?
Just, if it happens that way, then it
Mhm.
happens that way,
Mhm.
but, yeah, not putting a whole lot of, uh, stock into
Mm.
it.
I get
It's
it.
just fun.
Stock. Sure, yeah. Nice pun, yeah. I would imagine coming up with new, tastes and flavors has to be
Mhm.
fun.
Yes, yeah. So, my husband wants to do a Chipotle one in the future, and I actually want to. I've been making salsa since I was 12, and I want that to be the next
There
thing
you go.
ahead of the Chipotle. So,
That you can put on your
um,
tacos when you order them, right?
yeah, that
There
I
you
could,
go.
yeah.
See? We marketers connect dots, don't we? So,
Yeah.
now you can sell both of them. Yeah, just what you wanna do is start making tacos, right?
Yeah. I actually had brisket tacos last night for dinner.
Ooh, the brisket
Yes.
is oh, man. Oh, yeah, by the way,
Mhm.
happy birthday.
Thank you.
Alright, so hopefully you got spoiled enough over the whole weekend.
I did. I had a very good, couple of days
Good.
since, Thursday. Yeah.
That may as well start it. You should try
Mhm.
next year, take all of August.
I've never been good at doing the whole month thing,
Yeah,
but I definitely take, from my birthday through the weekend.
alright.
So,
And when
yeah,
was your birthday?
Thursday.
Okay, alright.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
happy birthday,
We
good
did a happy hour. Most of the people from the office were able to make it. Some people from the Cleveland Connection stopped by and family. And then on Friday, I took the day off
Mhm.
and uh, yeah, just had a long weekend. It was
There
really
you go.
nice.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I'm gonna take a, selfish moment here. On Saturday morning, our first granddaughter was born.
Oh,
Yep, we've been
yay!
waiting. She was a week early. Her name is Maggie. She naturally is spectacular. So
Yes.
I got to hold her for a little bit in the hospital till they told me to put her down. And I was talking to her, telling about all the fun things she's gonna learn, and, she's young enough to know that I don't sing well at all. So I sang her a couple songs, and she didn't wake up screaming, so I took that as a plus. But
That's good.
I
That's
have
good.
I have a good picture of her older brother, Oliver, who the show is familiar with. He went to the hospital for the first time Saturday afternoon, and just to
Oh,
have a good picture of him looking at her asleep in her bed.
that's
And
adorable.
I was texting with with Oliver's mom the other day, and I said, "I just wanna know the thought bubbles that
Yeah.
here's a 4-year-old thinking," because he knew she was coming. He's very excited about helping and having a baby sister because he's got, cousins on his mom's side of the family. There's a brother-sister or sister-brother combo. So he knows
Yes.
that dynamic in the house. Now he has one. But
Yeah.
yeah, just I'm just waiting to when he realizes, "Hey, I'm not the cute one here anymore."
Yeah.
So, but we are having a blast. Yep.
Yeah, that'll, I have an older sister, and she actually wanted me to live in the
Yeah.
garage
Yeah.
when I was in my mother's womb.
Yeah.
She, had a playroom, which was about to be turned into a nursery, and
Yeah.
her idea was to move me to the garage.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hey, nobody could
the
blame.
dynamic definitely does change when
Hey,
you're about to no longer be the only
yeah. Hey, no
child.
older sibling would argue with that, I'm sure. So,
Yeah.
uh, so back to, you and your husband, Peyton.
Mhm.
Always like to ask people on the show, How did you and Peyton meet, and do you both tell the story the same way?
We do not tell the story the same
Ooh,
way.
good. I like these even better.
No, not at all. So we met through a mutual friend. So she was a coworker of mine in Austin when I was bartending and serving, and she was a friend of his. And I was actually dating somebody else at the time, and she went to introduce me to them, and I was very rude because I was dating somebody else. And I was like, do you need something over here? Because I'm crazy busy with all my other tables. And no, you don't need anything? Perfect. Bye. And left. And that left a lasting impression on both of us until he came in on a slow night. And I was no longer dating said person. And I knew that he was a personal trainer. Like freelance and did this, it's called TRX, and I had never tried it before. And so I sat down and I was like, hey, so I really want to try that TRX thing. And then he was my personal trainer for a while, and then we started dating, and then
Mm.
we had moved in with each other within like 6 months, and then the rest is history. But he his side of the story is funnier.
And yet he came back to see you, tells you that there was a impression left, maybe a
Yeah.
different one than you thought, right?
He actually had my phone number prior to me
Mhm.
giving it to him. So he stole my phone
Smart
number
man.
from my coworker's phone.
That should tell you something. He gets 2 points
Yeah.
for that.
Uh-huh.
Be
I guess he knew something was gonna happen.
and I tell people all the time for my kind, and thank you to your kind for dating my kind because we're not easy to live with sometimes. We're fun and we're predictable, and y'all give us way more credit for being smart than we are. But when we see somebody we wanna meet, we will chase. Yes, we will chase, and he did, didn't he?
He did, yes.
Well, good for you. The reason you were in Austin
Mhm.
was kinda traumatic. You had an
Yeah.
injury at work
Mhm.
with a glass table that, did some damage
Yes.
to your knee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Freak accident. Shaved side of a glass tabletop rolled out onto my knee and cut off a chunk of skin. I actually just celebrated, and I say celebrate
Mhm.
because it did happen. It led to a great series of events.
Yeah.
So I celebrated the 12-year anniversary of it on Saturday. And had that not happened, I never would have moved to Austin.
Mhm.
I never would have met my husband, and I wouldn't be where I am today. So,
The
um,
accident happened locally, but you went to Austin to live with your mom and rehab there?
yes, so it happened when I was working at Logan's Nursery in downtown Raleigh. My mom and dad were living in Austin at the time. And then she when I told her what happened, I downplayed it 100%. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I had stitches, blah, blah, blah. I really couldn't walk. And so her friend called her and said, you need to get up here. It's a lot worse than what she's saying.
Ah.
And my mom came up, packed up my apartment in 3 days, and I was living in Austin. And it took about 6+ months to fully recover. And then yeah, it's- then I was out looking for jobs
Yeah.
and
And naturally,
felt,
you picked
yeah.
something where you were standing all night.
Yeah.
Bartending, right? Good decision.
Well, it was, I mean, I was laying down most of the day for 6 months after being a very active person my entire life. So I was ready to be on my feet again.
Laying in bed that long, you must have had 1,000 different thoughts and scenarios that you went through your
Mhm.
head of how this was gonna play out, good, bad, or indifferent. That must have
Yeah.
been as tough a thing to do. You just laying there with nothing to do but think.
Yeah, it was, I was a very I'm a horrible patient. Like, I do not like to have to rely on anybody. Um, so I got in trouble a lot for trying to go downstairs to do something. And, Kirsten, you're supposed to be on the couch. You're supposed to just be waiting. I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I just want chips. I just want hummus. Like, I want to stop yelling at you
Yeah.
for things, you know?
And I'd like to get it on my own for
um,
once, right?
yeah. And I could not wait till I could start running again and I could get back to I remember posting about it in 2010, that I think I got to my first 11-minute mile. And I was very excited that I was able to run the whole time and didn't have to stop and walk. And then I got it down to 9. And then I was back down to a 7.5-minute mile. And I was just like, oh my God, so exciting. And don't ask me to run a 9-minute mile right now. Um, but it's very exciting to, even just be walking that entire time, let alone running that entire time. So yeah, the 6-month rehab was I was going stir crazy. Like
Oh,
I said,
yeah.
I couldn't even work from home for 2 months during the shutdown,
Yeah.
let alone lay on a couch for 6 months. It was, yeah.
And would your mom consider it, now that she looks back on it, would she consider that good bonding time, or did you just yell at her the whole time?
Um, I don't know that I've ever asked her that question. I guess I'm kind of afraid to ask her because I don't want to know what she has to say about
But
it.
I do, and that's really what matters today.
Yeah. I'm sure there were some good bonding moments because we did go to like a couple of matinee movies
Mhm.
together where she knew that I'd be able to put my leg up
Yeah.
because she's like, all right, she is going a little crazy. Um, because we went to see the movie Easy A. That was the first movie I had seen, um, the first new movie I had seen in over 3 years. Like there was a time in my life that I have like this media blackout because when I lived by myself in downtown Raleigh, I had no TV.
Dang.
I had no access to the internet. If I wanted to do online courses, I actually had to go to the public library and they had, and I was only there to do my online courses. So there's a good amount of movies and TV shows that if it came out between 2007 and 2010,
Yeah.
I didn't see them. I still don't know about them.
I feel that way about 90s music, having 2 kids in the 90s, young, it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what happened in the 90s.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. There's still movies that Peyton will bring up, and I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't know, I didn't see it.
yeah,
And he's like, "What?"
yeah,
I go, "What year did it come out?" And he goes, "Like 2009, 2010." I'm like,
yeah,
"Media blackout." I don't know
yeah,
what to tell
nice.
you.
Your, as I always like to do some intel on my guests, just so I have good talking
Mhm,
points, because it's all about me being entertained. Let me just say that up
mhm,
front here. So, in reverse order, it was University of Phoenix, Peace, and
mhm,
Middle Creek High School, yet
mhm.
you were confident enough on LinkedIn to post graduated Middle Creek High School with honors. Really?
Yes.
Do we need to be taunted with that for those of us that did not graduate with honors? Come on.
Yes.
Had I graduated with honors, I probably would have put it up there too.
100%.
Any particular classes they were with honors on?
Um, so I let's see. The only C that I got
Oh, jeez. I hate these
was
stories. Come on.
was in my junior year, first semester, and I got it in U.S. history, and I was able to curve that C on the final to a B.
Okay.
So, like all throughout, like, and I missed a lot of school at the beginning of junior year. I was constantly getting strep throat, and then I
Mhm.
ended up getting my tonsils removed. So that cleared up all that. So that had a lot to do with my C in that class. And so I made up that C by acing the final. And my honors was just basically I was in the top 5% of my graduating class.
Ooh,
So
look at me.
yeah,
Uh,
like,
at any
well, I
point,
tell people if you have a horn to toot it. So
yes, and I agree with that 100%. At any point in time in that history class, did you want to tell the teacher, tonsils are gone, been a rough couple months, can you like throw 2.5 points on there, get me to
yeah,
an 80.5?
he was such a hard
Yes,
yes,
yes.
and I mean, I asked for extra credit, like if there was
Mm.
anything that I could do to. He was like, "No, I don't offer extra credit. That's something that you would get in junior high." Like, rah, 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 rah. I was like, like you know that I was out. Like all of my other teachers knew that I was out for
Yeah.
strep throat and he was just not having it. I was like, oh my god. So I definitely studied up and yeah, I aced that. He was also the tennis coach, and um, I tried out. I am not coordinated at all, but I will try my hand in something new every once in a while. And I think when I tried out for the tennis team and I just started laughing at
Mm.
myself, he didn't find that
Yeah,
amusing,
yeah, yeah.
which I feel like you should laugh at yourself if
Mm.
mess up. Like, I'm not going to beat myself up over it if I let the ball hit me in the face. Or I didn't let it hit me in the
Yeah,
face. I just couldn't
couldn't
hit
get out of
it.
the way.
So I don't think he found that very amusing. That I
Probably
was
not.
kind of. I think he thought that I was making fun of
Yeah,
tennis, but I
yeah,
was really making fun of myself.
yeah. I can see him doing that, yeah.
And I was like, you know what? This isn't for me. I'm
Right.
going to walk off the court.
How often does your, Spanish come in handy at work?
Ooh, very often. Well, maybe like 60% of my clients are Hispanic, and of that 60, I'd say about 50% of them are English second language. So it's not that I have to um, use it heavily, but it
Mm,
does come in handy.
well, good.
So,
Yep. It
yeah.
matters. Things like that matter.
Oh,
I'm a
yeah.
big fan of
Yeah.
people that speaking of tooting your own horn, I've run across
Yeah.
people that are like, "Yeah, I'm bilingual." I'm like, "Why are you not telling people that?"
Yeah.
You know, people there are clients looking for people that are bilingual. Tell people that.
Yeah.
I'm
My
amazed.
my dad brags on it more than I do.
Yeah,
Like, he finds any chance to bring it up,
yeah.
and I'm like, "You're giving me more credit than I'm due, but I appreciate it."
It's one of those parent moves. My daughter's a comedian. Kirstyn, come over here, tell a joke, right? It's like, on
Yeah,
the spot,
yeah.
dad? Come on.
Uh,
Hold your left band up, your left wrist up there. Show me that
Mm,
wristband. Tell me the significance of that. I love this
yes.
story.
So this one, I actually got my full color purple one dirty when I was fixing the dryer. So, like I said, I don't like relying on people. I fix
Yes.
the dryer all by myself. But I went with still this purple color scheme due to epilepsy awareness.
Mhm.
That's the color ribbon for epilepsy awareness. It's also my favorite color. So that's just a
And when
happy accident.
and I did not I knew none of that till I met you, that purple was
Yeah.
even the color of the organization, but I applaud you for that, and I know you're involved with fundraisers and everything because
Mhm.
that's part of you, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
good stuff. Good stuff. So, one last tip. Somebody today thinking about start doing their own website. Give them 2 things to keep in mind as they're doing it.
Oh, okay.
They're eventually gonna get it wrong, so they're gonna call you, but they wanna try it first, so we're gonna humor them here. So 2 things to keep in mind.
It is more work than the free websites tell you it is.
Yes, it is.
And there are an insane amount of changes that happen not just every year, but every month with Google. And you already wear enough hats.
Mm,
Why not relinquish one of those?
good to know. There are some things we just need to outsource,
Yeah.
Some things we can do ourselves,
Yeah.
like fixing a dryer. But other
Yeah.
things just, because what's your time worth? Are you going to spend
Exactly.
17 hours doing something it would take somebody else an hour and a half to do?
Mhm.
So how are you going to make up those 15 and a half hours?
Yeah, it's time is money type of thing,
Yes.
but it's DIY sites still cost your time,
Yeah.
so it's my very first presentation at the Cleveland Connection. Actually, I passed out a bunch of pieces of paper. Each one of them had different amounts of time on them. And I asked everybody to write down what they could do with that amount of time.
Mhm.
So somebody would have 2 hours, 90 minutes, 14 hours,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And I went around and I just said, what time did you get? And Brian Sandals, he had 2 hours and he said, I can watch a movie with my son.
Mhm.
And I go, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, and what can you do with that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, these are all things that instead of like, this is everybody said something that had to do with quality time with their family.
Yep. Which
Yeah.
was interesting.
Not like,
Yeah.
oh, I can update my website,
Yeah.
because some of those hours, like that's how long it would take to match up with what just happened yesterday or
Yep.
last week with Google. And I'm a family person. Like if I
Yep.
have 2 hours, 2 extra hours that I can spend with my family, I'm choosing the 2 extra hours with my family.
Yeah, because you got a loving husband, 2 dogs, 2 cats, and a side business,
Hmm.
so you got things
Yeah,
going on, right?
yeah,
Yeah, you need
just a little bit.
at least 4 more hours. So tell dad you're
Yeah,
going back to because tell him with all the other millennials, you want a 32-hour work week paid at 40 hours, okay? See how well that goes
yeah,
over.
I know, right?
So anyways, folks, we've been putting Kirstyn's number on the screen there. You need a professional to do stuff like that. Just trust me on this, okay? Trust me. But give her a call, even a free consult. She'll tell you what they can do and some thoughts on what you need. But please, in this particular area, find a professional. Kirstyn, this was a blast. Enjoy the stories. Glad this was your 12th anniversary. And you were back
Yes.
running again, and we're gonna hold you to that 7.5 minute mile one day. Not today, but one day. So, but glad to have you on the show today.
Yes, thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
And we'll see everybody next time on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.